Hello and welcome to this messy voiceover. I'm going to be coloring this page with the squirrel on the right hand side, and as you can see there's already a base of both Inktense and Albrecht Dürer first, and then some textures as well. And what you'll be seeing me doing in 2 times the time is smoothing out the edges of the texture with polychromos. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure I like the end result. It looks a bit like there's a filter over it. Like even in the end result, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, no, I'm going to share this anyway. And as for the voiceover, I've already filmed this once, but I like drifted off into topics that I feel if I want to talk about those topics, I would want to have it more scripted and know exactly what I'm saying, because, you know, when you put something on the internet, it's forever and ever and ever. So yeah, no, instead we're going to, I don't really know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be a chatty video, obviously. I am going to try to explain a bit about what I'm doing, but I mean, yeah, it's mostly finding a color of the pencil that matches the marker and then feathering out the edges. There'll be some zoom ins as well. But yeah, no, it's mostly video to have in the background. I do have in front of me my my dream journal. So when I've not been that good, but I do have some weird dreams every now and then, and I try to write them down when I remember to do that. And I thought I would see what I've written down here, because I imagine there's some weird things. So let's get into it. Well, there's one here when I was dragged along to a party. That's kind of boring one, but apparently I mostly wanted to be at home, but I got dragged along. Oh, it goes on. This is a long one. This is like 3 pages in this little journal. Apparently there's something with a champagne bottle involved. Oh, champagne mixed with Coca-Cola. Yeah, that doesn't sound too nice. Oh, I'd won some competition and therefore I got the bottle. Oh, and then suddenly it switches to being in a library, as one does, you know. Okay, that's just boring. Apparently I had a rival and we talked about Siberian books for some reason. Oh yeah, Siberian books was the big thing apparently. Oh, apparently my rival like dragged up a lot of books from like Russian-speaking countries, and she could pronounce the titles in perfect Russian, and therefore she won. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, okay, going on. Interesting. There's one here that says sidewalk dance? Question mark. Someone stole a bike. Oh, a little thing about the video. So in the wood, I think right now also I'm using pink. It's I like doing that, mixing pink into my browns, especially for wood. It doesn't really, I don't really do it for animals that much, but I think it works for like, as I said, wood. So yeah, I don't always like go for, you know, the stereotypical colors. I will sometimes branch out a bit. So, for example, pink in wood. Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting, you know, when things are very specific in dreams. So, for example, here apparently I could hold something like a heavy exercise thing. I could hold it for 30 seconds, but not 33. And you know, when something's in dreams are so important, and you wake up and it was really, and like I remember that it was important enough that I wrote down that I could hold it in 30 seconds, but not 33. Interesting. This is, I don't like that. So this dream was about a woman that was pregnant and didn't, this is probably trigger warning, hi, by the way, nightmares or something. Anyway, she was pregnant but didn't know that her body was dead below, like her belly. Yeah. Okay. Stuff about my family. Okay. Interesting. Something about Italian. Interesting. Oh, here's some engineering things. It was a process that overheated. Okay. Okay, so some stickers I own got projected onto buildings in New York. Like, why? What? It's so, you know, things you write down when you're barely awake. I don't know even if I, like, you know, I mean, that's the only thing I wrote about that dream. Like, stickers got projected onto a building in New York. Okay, moving on. A Zoom call where this is probably during the pandemic. Yeah. Okay, a Zoom call where I had to show where my bag was from. This is also just a one-sentence description of a dream. Yeah. When I'm better at keeping track of my dreams. Now I haven't written down something in a long while, but a good thing to do just to keep in the habit of writing down dreams is to write down even if you don't have any dreams. So I have quite a few where I've just written no dreams remembered. Oh, here's another nightmare. Again, someone else telling me stuff. So there was a person telling me that it was creepy to have a door you can lock, but it's, I don't know. Okay, it's hard to lock it fast enough. Creepy thought. Here's one where I'm gathering leaves. And it was like orange berries to green white leaves, apparently. Interesting. I've had some really weird ones. I remember once when I was in my teens, I dreamt that I went downstairs to my living room, or our living room, my family's living room, and there were 10 snakes in a cage. We had, in the middle of the floor, there was like a cage, and in it were 10 snakes. Like, it was, you know, they were stuffed together in like a cartoon cage. And one of them then another one, like the 11th snake, was a huge black one with red runes on its back, and it was like crawling on the wall. It had gotten out, and that's that dream. Now, I don't really believe in like dream symbolism or anything like that. I mean, to each their own, but I personally don't. But I do find it fascinating what the mind can come up with. Yeah, it's really weird. Oh, here we have it a bit more zoomed in. So, yeah, I mean, you can see the process, right? I'm not really covering all of everything. Like, I won't be having an area, the whole page colored with pencil in the end. I will still have some Inktense or some marker going through from like the bottom layer. I do press quite a bit, especially over the harshest of the marker to then feather out. Yeah. And as I said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like these pages, but they're done, so that's nice. Okay, here's another dream where I apparently there was a competition about cleaning the floors in a church. Okay. Oh, here's one where I just wrote a nightmare I don't remember. So, when you wake up with just a feeling. Okay, here's one when I had to go, or like I was going to a friend's wedding that was held in a shop, which was also a labyrinth. Okay, interesting. I'm guessing this is really weird video. Like nobody's interested in anyone else talking about their dreams, or very few people are at least, but it's something to have in the background, I guess. Okay, here's about my student theater group. Okay. Okay, anyway. Something. Okay. Oh, I've moved places, right? Or countries. And in my dreams now, like my hometown is blending together into a weird alternative geography of how it looked like. Like in my dreams now, distances don't make sense anymore. So every time I end up being there in my dreams, things just don't make sense anymore. And it's almost like, as I said, it's like I'm returning to the same alternative space. Like the rules, it's not the same as it is for real. Like I know that, but I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to explain. Yeah, but it's like all the memories are blending together, and now it doesn't make sense anymore. It's really interesting. Oh yeah, I do actually. Have you heard about lucid dreaming anytime? It's when some people can do it. When you realize in your dream that you're dreaming, and because you realize that, you can take control of the dream. It's a thin line between when you realize, or for me at least, it's a thin line between realizing that I'm dreaming and then waking up because I realized that, or that half state when I realize I'm dreaming and actually do keep sleeping on. It's kind of cool. Haven't done it that many times, but I've done some flying, as one does. I've also changed, like the first time I remember for real, I was attacked by, in the dream then, I was attacked by a lion, and I realized this doesn't make sense and it's a dream. So obviously I can just give myself superpowers, which I did, so that lion got defeated. But yeah. Here's one, also a weird one, blending work and life. Oh, this one I remember from last week, I think. It was like a combo between Walking Dead and Last of Us. And I was I'm usually a character in my dreams. It's kind of interesting. I'm not always myself, sort of, but in this one I was kind of the main character or something. And someone, I think, from The Walking Dead was back in town. And the thing was that suddenly all the birds started warning everyone about approaching dangers. And me and a character and two small kids, we climbed up to a tree, and we were supposed to hide there, and then the horde of zombies walked beneath. It's this interesting half nightmare, half not. Yeah. Interesting. Oh, here's one where my boyfriend was Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster. I don't know. Don't look at me like that. I was supposed to flee from someone, and then I found my way back to my body in time to eat my own brain. Or maybe that was the monster. The monster, yeah, okay. Yep. Okay. Here's one about Eurovision. But the soundtrack didn't work. Oh, and I was supposed to kill a fly with when you have a what's that called in English? The pen that you can erase, the pencil, but with that you click on and you get out the stift. The lead, you have you fill it up with thin lead. I mean, it's not called lead, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, and you click it out, and you can get out a long writing stick, and I was supposed to catch a fly with that. Okay. Oh, this was an interesting one. This I also remember. This was a recent one. I was kind of on an expedition with work in the forests in the south of Sweden. And me and 3 other persons, we wanted to walk to Frankfurt. Because, as you do from the south of Sweden all the way to Frankfurt. And we wanted to do this over lunch. Because we had some time over. And my brother was supposed to fly and meet us there. I was barefoot. And then it says, and it was a bad omen that the city was quiet. And I kind of remember this. It was my father was there also, and he was saying, oh, it's not good that it's so quiet. We need to go in this side alley, something. And it was... And I think then in my mind, the mental image of it is bleeding into how Koper, one of the cities that are next to my hometown in Slovenia, looked like. And there was also this huge lake where we started walking, and I was barefoot, as I said. And I was expecting it, to, when you walk on roads that aren't asphalt, it can be kind of rough on your feet, and I was expecting it to hurt more, but then it didn't. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I have right now in this dream diary, dream journal thingy. As I said, I'm not that good at writing down. I have quite a few. I have periods where I write a lot. So here's quite a few from September 2020, and then there's a jump to December 2020, and then there's a gap all the way to February 2022, and then we are in August 23, which is more or less now then. So I've been writing a bit more recently in it. But it's kind of interesting. Oh, now I think I'm going on the background. So I did go in first with pencil here, but then I noticed that I wanted to be a bit more colored in, so I did more with the Inktense as well. You'll see me do that a bit later, and then I try to smooth that out. And as I said, this is not, I mean, it's it's an interesting, I think it might grow on me. I like the colors kinda, and I like the fact that I colored it. It's one of the pages, where I've been wanting to do them for a long time, and now I have. And it's not a perfect result, but I've done them, and I feel it's good anyway, Not everything has to be perfect, and not everything has to be a masterpiece. So that's fun. Oh, you see also, the different. Now I think this is maybe not. I thought maybe this was an Albrecht Dürer pencil. It looks like it a bit, maybe. Yeah, it's an Albrecht Dürer pencil. So this is the one that's going to be diluted later. Yeah. But yeah, no. I've also had some. So lucid dreaming is the one when you realize you're sleeping, and then you have night terrors, right? Where you are kind of hallucinating. And I've done that once. It was the scariest thing ever. And it was so real. Especially like the months afterwards, I remember being like, are we sure aliens don't exist? Or, not aliens, but it's really like your brain really tells you that this really happened. So what I dreamt, I guess, or like what happened was that I woke up because someone walked into the house. Like I heard the door open, and I was lying in bed, and then I heard the person, the creature, whatever it was, move into the apartment. Oh, and I'm kind of, I'm getting shivers just thinking about this, because it's really, it dumped all the adrenaline I have in my body. Like it's just dumped it all on me. It's the most scared I've been ever. And just, I realized, or anyway, walked through the apartment, opened the door in my room, and then stood at the edge of my bed, and it was like a slender man figure, sort of, like you couldn't see the features. It was just a human shape, sort of, or humanoid shape, staring at me. It was really, really, and as I said, like the thing was that the body just overreacted, and it felt so real because I had woken up and the door had opened, but then because I read creepy stuff every now and then, I realized that, okay, what's happening now is it's probably a night terror. This is probably hallucination. So basically I think the science is, and don't take my word for it, but it's more or less, do I need to close the window? This is really, there's someone doing something outside. Of course. Hopefully it doesn't really disturb the audio. But anyway. So what basically happens is that it's when you go to sleep, or when you're in a certain stage of sleeping, your body locks up. And if you wake up in that state, your body is still locked up, but your brain is trying to make sense of it being awake, and so you can get hallucinations. And yeah, I had read about that, and one of the tricks they said was that like you're supposed to shake your head, try to shake your head, and that will wake you up. And I tried doing that, and it did wake me up. I woke up for real, probably, maybe. Unless Inception is real. But yeah, no, I woke up again, and yeah, no, it was really scary. Apparently, the most common thing reported is that you can get this when you sleep on your back. So I try not to do that, because I slept on my back when it happened, and I am not doing that again. No way. Nope. So yeah. I heard about an article. I haven't looked this up since. So again, don't quote me. I'm just a YouTuber. But I heard, when I took my psychology course, I heard about an article that I didn't actually look up and read, but they linked dreaming and being sleepy to the cerebrospinal fluid. So the cerebrospinal fluid is the fluid like around the brain and in the... Wow, what's that called in English? The thing in the vertebrates that you don't want to break. The nerves that go, down your back. So that's the cerebrospinal fluid. Spine! Of course, it's even in the name. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, and they linked it, more or less what they had found was that, and I'm paraphrasing obviously from my someone I heard this from, that they had found that during the day the brain accumulates like chemicals, and then during the nights the cerebrospinal fluids goes like into the brain, into canals, and washes it out. And then that fit neatly into different theories about why do we get tired? Well, because our brain is more or less dirty and needs to be cleaned. Why do we dream? Well, because the fluid goes like into the canals and like disturbs the brain, and then those signals are like the brain tries to understand those signals, and that's why you start dreaming. And then they also had some speculations that, okay, this could maybe even be linked to, I think, Alzheimer's, because they had found that, if your cerebrospinal fluid has more of a certain type of chemicals, then this cleaning wasn't done that sufficiently, or, something like that. And yeah, it's interesting, of course. With every stuff like this, it doesn't help if one article says this. You need to have like several articles peer-reviewed, and then a consensus is reached, and that's like what you can actually believe. So, quoting just one article that I haven't even read on my own is risky business. But I know, for a coloring video, just for speculating. Hey. That's kind of interesting. Another thing that, or a dream that I'm going to steal from that my Sambo told me about, was once he dreamt that he said he's sort of, he does puns every now and then, just stupid jokes. But he dreamt that he had done such a bad pun that a spider in Australia, like on the other side of the world, was like, no, I can't do this anymore, and like broke out of its cage and started to like slowly make its way, walk across the world to Sweden in order to kill him, because the pun was so bad. And it was like, oh shit. Yeah, it's interesting what people come up with. I also had a dream where I was falling down a slope but the slope was like, you know, where you cheese grate stuff. A horrible dream. It was more the dread of like falling down that slope and being grated like cheese, I guess. Horrible thing. Yeah. But otherwise, I don't really have that many nightmares, I think, or nothing that really sticks with me. When I was small, there was a story in like a children's magazine that had this picture of a wolf that was hiding behind the door in a little girl's room, and I think it was like, you know, a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, sort of. But that wolf was drawn like, it was just lines, it was just a shape. And that was something that really has stuck with me. And I think that, you know, the Slenderman that visited me that night when I had that night terror was at least partially inspired by that, because it was just a shape. It wasn't anything. It was just a humanoid shape. And this wolf creature in that magazine was also humanoid, was standing on two legs, but it has like the pointy ears of a wolf. Yeah. So that's something. I also remembered when I think either in school or maybe my mother tried to read Robinson Crusoe. And I really didn't like the idea of cannibals, which, I mean, makes perfect sense. But yeah, no, that was something that scared me as well. Yeah, I have exercised my fear of the dark, or, you know, fear of being alone in the forest at dark. I was a scout as a kid. And we played some games in, you know, the night in the forest. Let's say it was under controlled conditions. But yeah, no, after you've more or less played a hide and seek and hidden, laid belly down in the high grass in the forest and focused on your task for a while, you sort of, you're not that afraid of it anymore. Yeah, I think it's like a mind change, that I went from like prey to not predator, but I had like a task to do. No, you know, I had to hide here until I could run out and capture the flag. Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot has to do with mentality when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, of course, it's different for everyone, but for me at least, like, not everyone is going to have the same experience. Like, some have more vivid dreams and so on. And yeah. Yeah, no, I think these are the finishing touches. I do go in with blue on these flowers. I decided I wanted them blue. And I think I tied that same blue, or at least a similar blue, to the page next door as well. So I had intentionally left these flowers blank before, so because I knew I wanted to tie these two pages together, and because they're quite similar in theme. I think there are other stuff tying them together as well. Maybe the wood is done in a similar way, and so on. Oh, I think I missed the part of the process which was going over. So in the branch, I know I first had the layer of Inkdens and Albrecht Dürer, then I went in doing shadows with textures, and then I smoothed those out with pencils, and then I felt like something was missing, so I went over it again with textures again, like a layer, the last layer was textures, and that's, yeah, I don't know, you know, it's whatever. I don't really have a good reason for that. I just wanted to do that, so I did. Yeah. And these white flowers, I just go in with some really light blue for some basic shading. I don't think I do anything more than that. But yeah, no. It's kind of a weird video topic. I haven't been coloring that much lately. It's this month I only did these 2 pages actually. So in August, I mean. So I'm going to try to do a bit more in September. Then again, maybe not. I have a Pantone card video coming up instead. So Pantones are, it's a challenge on, yeah, I talk about it a bit more in that video, but it's a challenge to color postcards from Pantone, which is like a, I don't know, a color shop. They sell colors, but like colors that you use on the walls. Paint. They sell paint. And they have a series of postcards, which there's a challenge that you convert those into a scene or anything you want, some art based on the color given on the postcard. And yeah, it's fun. I'm not especially good at it, but I'm having fun anyway. And I'm thinking after 100 ones, maybe. I also have some color alongs going. Oh, and now I'm doing some cleanup. So I go in with white gel pens just in the lighter areas where I see that I've gone over the lines a bit. And I think that's more or less it. Yeah, no. Thank you for being here, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.